Alpujarras is a game in which we're going to cultivate fruit, sell fruit, make money, complete goals also along the way, and at the end of the game, the wealthiest player wins the game. Pretty simple there. It has a solitaire variant, which I haven't tried. It has a 2-player variant, but I really think that this game shines at 3 to 4 players. That is where you're gonna have the most fun of it, if nothing else, because there's an element of area majority, and that always is more interesting with more players. So this is the board, middle of the table, of course, where we place the fruit that we're going to collect, and this game uses wooden pieces representing fruit, and they are super cute, truly nice. I think they really add to the general experience. Really cute. Then we have markets, and these are the areas where at the beginning of the game we place these tiles randomly, so that each market has a different amount of values and things that basically the players want. During the game, you probably have imagined already, you will collect fruit and you go to the market and you discard the corresponding amount of fruit to collect the corresponding tile, which will be worth one more coin that is printed on it. So a 5, will be worth 6, and so on and so forth. And at the end of the game, that's victory points. If you're the first player to sell to a market, you also collect the tile and get a 1-time advantage, and these tiles also are placed randomly in different markets at the beginning of the game. Around the board, we place these tiles here, which you can place randomly, but following the idea that each tile has either a market or a harvest symbol, and you want to alternate them. So if that tile there has a harvest symbol, I'm going to place a market here and a harvest there, which will be followed by a tile with a market, and so on and so forth. But within that restriction, you can have different organizations, with the exception that the last and the starting tile will always be the same. Always those there. And the game follows that Tokaido, Namiji, and a lot of other games ideas that the player to go next is the player who is last on the track. So if my mule is last there, now it's my turn. And I can go ahead by any number of spaces, but of course I don't want to exaggerate. And then you're the last. You go and take your action. You take the action of the space in which you landed. So now red goes next, and they go there and they perform that action. And then yellow really wants to jump ahead by a lot and go there, which makes no sense, by the way, in game terms. Things are right now, but I'm just showing you the game. And now it's blue's turn, and blue may even be able to take multiple turns if indeed after they move and perform the action, they're still last. So that is the general idea. And we continue to play and resolve actions until all the mules have made it to the final tile. And when they're all there, they all land there. As you can see, there are different amount of points that you can score, because remember, money is points. Once all mules have completed a revolution of the map, they've gone around the map on the board, then the game is over. So what are some of these actions that you can take? One action is to place farmers from your personal supply to the board. Each player will have a supply. I have green available here, so we're going to pretend that we're playing as green. So if I land on the action of adding a farmer, I will do just that. I take a farmer from my supply, I place it in a region on the board, and I can collect a fruit from that is adjacent to that region if there are any available. Right now I could collect grapes, cherries, or oranges, and I really like cherries because they are just the cutest fruity pulp, with grapes being a close second. And that's it for my action of adding. There may be actions that allow me to place multiple farmers, and I can place them in multiple regions. Here's an apple. So that's for the action of adding farmers. Another action may be to move my farmer, in which case I just, well, guess what? I move the farmer, and again, I can collect a fruit from the region where I land. The action may be this one here, to irrigate, that is to place new channel tokens on the board. You see there are printed canals, I should say, already on the board, and I can extend one of those, and then I will collect rewards based on the space that I just covered. Suppose, for example, I decide to extend that canal there, and I can see the next space on the track has the shape of a T, and so I'll place the corresponding, I resolve that, but it's to tell you the next one will be that one, but some canals are not T-shaped. It just depends on what is printed there. Now, when you place one, you will gain the corresponding advantage. For example, I get to collect one of these tokens that are called Norias, and during the game, several actions will allow you to collect them, and you can trade them for different advantages, as indicated on your player rate. The other thing is that exclamation mark, hooray, which means, you see there's an empty space there. I will choose a kind of fruit as long as one of these tokens from a general supply is still available, and suppose I decide to cultivate apples there. That's silly, there are already a lot of apples there. Let's do lemons. There you go. When life gives you lemons, you plant lemons. So I will then collect the corresponding fruit, one for me and two for the board. And since these fruits that are at the beginning of the game on the board will be depleted, that's the way. You need to irrigate and plant new fruits. You help yourself, and you also help other people in the process. So, other actions as you go ahead, there may simply be the action of just collect the fruit. That would be this one here, for example. That's it. So you see, we covered some of the main ones: adding, moving farmers, irrigating, collecting fruit. But now we need to go to the market and to the harvest. When somebody lands in a harvest space, for example, the first one would be, what is it? Up there. When somebody lands, let's use this one. When you land in a harvest space, you collect the corresponding reward, such as money or an Noria, and you also get to harvest, which means you collect fruit from all places where you have majority or you're tied for majority. And each land generates or produces a certain kind of fruit. For example, this one, purple, generates grapes, and I take them from the general supply, not from the board. So if I'm harvesting, I get grapes from there. I get apples from there because I'm tied for majority, and that is the green thing. And if I don't have a presence in an area or am unnumbered, then I don't get to harvest there. So I do not get to collect cherries from the red region because red has more. So that's the element of area majority there during harvest. Actually, one action that I didn't mention, you may have noticed there were check marks around. These are goals that are next to the place next to the board. They're represented by these cards, which are double-sided. So you choose or randomly determine which side of each goal you want to have each game. So there is variety there. And when I land on a space that has the check mark, which is the symbol of the goal, I can perform I can complete a goal if I meet the conditions. For example, suppose that I have 3 farmers in the same region. That is how you get that one. Or that I have 3 fruit that are different from one another. Then I take one of my farmers, I place it on the leftmost slot that is still available, because that's the one with the biggest payoff, and I collect the reward. That would be 3 coins there, for example. Again, coin is with 3 points. And then next player to complete the goal will have to be happy with the next. So when you see a check mark, that is when you get the opportunity to complete a goal. And if you go on a space with a check mark and you cannot complete a goal, you take one of these tokens, which is a reminder that next time you land on a check mark space, you can complete 2. You're basically banking that goal in the hope of completing it next. The action that everybody loves, everybody wants to perform, and it's a little more complicated to resolve, is when you go to the market. booyah to the market, which is, again, this icon here. That is when you can send one of your farmers to complete a complete a delivery in a village adjacent to where the farmer is. So, for example, I could complete a delivery there right now, or I can complete a delivery there, or one up there, not here, because I got nobody. When a farmer goes to perform a delivery, you need to discard the corresponding number of fruit. Oh, look, I got 4 apples, so the farmer can deliver 4 apples. I discard them to the general supply. The farmer goes and take a siesta and rests there, and I collect the token. Hooray! When you perform a delivery, also check if this is something that people really want. So there is a simple element of supply and demand there. That card tells me that there are 3 kinds of fruit that are particularly in demand and 2 not so much. So, for example, I delivered apples, so on top of the tile that I already got, I also get to collect 1 coin because people really want that right now. Had I delivered lemons, I would get 2 extra coins. Then the one that is delivered goes all the way to the right because I just flooded the market, so it's not quite as interesting for people anymore. And now lemon, oranges, and cherries are in high demand. There are also 3 cards there that come from that deck that you see there, are smaller cards. And on top of delivering and collecting a delivery token, I can also collect one of those cards if I discard the corresponding combination, say apples and cherry and grapes, or cherries and lemons. So basically, you're always gonna have a good chance from the market to get something, because these delivery tiles, of course, emphasize sets of the same kind, but if your things are kind of mismatched, you may still be able to collect one of those cards. Those cards do not, however, alter the general value of the goods. Only delivery tokens do. I guess it makes sense because you haven't delivered a lot of a single kind. So that's for the market action, which again is super important because it's what gives you the most money, but also commits one of your farmers to the market action and out of the game for the time being. This is the idea, really. This is pretty much it. You will go around the board, performing actions, collecting fruit, placing new fruit on the board by using the irrigation action, performing extra actions, and doing extra stuff thanks to your Norias. Collect the fruit, sell the fruit, and collect victory points that way. Possibly complete some goals. The wealthiest player, when all the mules have gone around the board, is the winner of the game. I like this game quite a bit. I think it's a really good mid-weight, mid-light game for 3 to 4 players. I haven't played the solo version. It just looks like there are a lot of steps, and I'm not super interested when a solo version, I have to spend a lot of time doing what the AI does. For 2 players, I think you're missing the area majority, but although I haven't played it that way, maybe you love it. Good for you. But for 3 to 4 players, really fun, really good. It does take a little while, a little bit to set up and take down. It's elaborate that way. But then gameplay is solid, so I think it's a valid investment. The components are so good, love them, and they really enhance the experience. The rules are clear and nice. And then when it comes to gameplay, which is where it matters the most, I like it a lot. I like the general simplicity, of course, of games like Nabiji or Tokaido, which is the last player goes next, which gives you the really simple dilemma of, well, I want that action, but then I'm going to be out of the game for a while. Then I'm going to take this other action. Hey, if you can take extra actions before you're in the back, why not? But in most cases, many cases, you'll have the nice dilemma of how far you want to go. And what happens is somebody's taking that action because I really need to add the farmer, so I get majority there. And so I get this and that other thing. I can deliver to that place. But then somebody else will get a lot of different things. So you have a lot of that indirect competition, which is not confrontational, because in most cases, if I'm adding a farmer just to take majority away from you, I'm probably gonna lose in the long run. But there may be a case, well, I could deliver there or there, or ooh, that player's gonna take that tile, which is 4 of a certain kind, and that's important to me because I have exactly 4. So only a 3 is left of that kind of fruit, which means, well, I'm not using things efficiently, and I don't have enough for 5. A lot of unstated competition going on around the table without, again, that direct confrontation, but there's a sense of competition which is very real. I guess it hits that like nice element there which I like in Eurogaming, which is we're competing but it's not a direct confrontation. I like that very much. And yet a lot of flexibility around that. Okay, fine, you have taken that delivery tile, but maybe with an extra Noria, I can switch one of my fruit, I can get something else, I can get a different reward. You really got fixated on that one tile that you wanted, now I can complete a goal instead, but you cannot anymore because of that thing. A lot of different paths to victory, a lot of sense of freedom and agency around all of these choices, which are restrictive, but not too much. I find that the economy is just tight enough to give my choices and my strategy value, but not so tight that it becomes, oh my gosh, a single mistake, I will never be able to catch up. So I guess it does really what I want from a mid/lightish kind of Eurogame. Giving me paths to victory, giving me decisions all the time, giving me the opportunity to come back from some bad decisions. They are not the end of the world. Gives you victory points from a lot of different sources, so it's not obvious right away who the winner is going to be, and if there is a leader, it doesn't matter too much because, again, people are not going to know it. And the game is going to feel pretty close. The fact that as I further my interest, I'm also helping other people because I'm placing fruit on the board through the irrigation. It checks all the boxes from the kind of game that I want when I want to play a midweight/light-ish kind of game. Alpujarras, I'm really impressed with this game. I really like it.